The wife of a Marine Corps veteran was released from ICE this week after being detained in May. She was arrested 9 weeks after she gave birth at what she thought was just a routine immigration office visit. CBS News reporter Kati Weis first reported this family story back in June and joins us live now from New Orleans. Kati, great to see you. You spoke to the family over the phone yesterday. How are they feeling now that they've been reunited?
Well, Liz, of course, they are just thrilled and relieved, grateful to be back together again, reunited, back home. She's back home with her 2 young children, a 2-year-old toddler and an infant daughter. And she really just says that she was stunned that this happened back in late May. She was brought here legally, she says, with her mother when she was a minor from Mexico. But then her mother later abandoned her, and she was homeless and estranged from her mother when in 2018, her mother, unbeknownst to her, did not show up for an immigration hearing, and that's what flagged her for deportation. But she said she was never notified about that. She had no clue that she had these issues. And her husband, Adrian Kluon, says that they tried to go through the process, the right way. They tried to do everything above board and were stunned when she was ultimately detained at an ICE office right here in New Orleans. But he says that after that, he tried to appeal to several politicians, even President Trump, but it was ultimately a Republican senator here in Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy's office, who actually stepped up to advocate for her case. That's according to her lawyer. Take a listen.
They came through, yes. Senator Kennedy sent some very strong messages to DHS in New Orleans saying you need to let this lady go. And the pressure was building all around. As you know, this case has really gotten a lot of attention around the country. I mean, she has no criminal record. She's, a very nice young lady and a good mother. What can you say?
Now, we reached out to Senator John Kennedy's office for a comment, but so far we've not heard back. Liz?
And Kati, we understand she was still breastfeeding her child when she was detained. We saw video there of her husband, Adrian, mixing the formula in that bottle, as mothers all know what that looks like. Was she able to keep nursing while she was being detained?
She was, to the best of her ability. She says that while she was inside the detention facility several hours north of here, she was given a breast pump so she could continue to produce milk, but she only got to nurse her baby when her husband would drive up with the kids once or twice a week. But again, it was an 8-hour round trip from their home in Baton Rouge, so it was a long drive for him to make with 2 young children. But she was grateful that she was at least given that pump while she was in detention. She said that the conditions in there were tough, that the rules were strict. It was really difficult, and that many women didn't know when they would be released. She certainly had no idea. Her lawyer, though, said that this was a particular case that he found particularly egregious. He says right now that the situation with immigration nationally is just in what he calls a, quote, hyper enforcement environment. And he says it's on a scale that he's never really seen before in his career. And that says a lot because he himself used to be an immigration judge. Take a listen to that.
But, DHS is taking some positions that they've never taken before, especially on bond. DHS has now decided that everybody who comes across illegally can be considered an arriving alien. That has never been the definition, and it's quite a bad legal argument to make, but that's what they're making nonetheless, and some immigration judges are buying it.
And until she can get her case resolved, while she's out on this what's called a recognizance bond, she is required to wear an ankle monitor and check in with a parole officer here in New Orleans once every 2 weeks. And her attorney says that it's a little overkill. He says it's unreasonable for her to be required to wear that ankle monitor. But again, that speaks, he says, to this hyper enforcement environment. I also asked him, just for anyone who's watching tonight, if they have a loved one anyone who's in immigration detention, what should they do? He said, first step above everything else, make sure you have a good attorney, that this couple didn't really get the best legal advice early on. Liz?
Yeah, but those attorneys can be difficult to find. All right, Kati Weis, thank you so much.